everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today is the second edition episode, however you want to call it, of my mini makeup series. And today I promised you we're gonna talk all about tools, all about brushes, sponges, everything you can apply makeup with. So if you are also overwhelmed by the amount of brushes there are on the market, then keep on watching because I'm gonna explain it all and I'm gonna explain what you need. And you don't need all the brushes that are in the store, that's for sure. So if you like this type of video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new to my channel or you haven't subscribed yet. Then the subscription box is here and you can click that bell notification, or here, don't know. Can't remember because my screen is flipped, so I have no clue which part it is. So yeah, without further ado, let's go in the world of brushes. Like I said in my intro, you don't need all the brushes that are out there in the store. And let me first get a misconception out of the way. Most of the time on the brush it says what it is supposed to do, but don't let it mislead you because you need to use your brush the way you like it. I, for example, have a setting brush that I like to do eyeshadow with. I have an eyeshadow brush that I like for concealer. So don't let the text on the brush mislead you because you just need to use the brush whatever it feels good for you and whatever you prefer. So that's the first misconception I want to get out of the way. Then let's get started with where to start your kit, because I had that struggle too. When I started makeup and I started looking into brushes, I was like, whoa, there are quite expensive brushes in the world, and there are also quite cheap brushes in the world. So I started buying the cheap ones, but what I noticed is that they are very harsh on my skin. I felt them scratch whenever I put blusher on or some other product. So I very quickly decided to go onto the little bit more expensive brushes. And I think you cannot go wrong with Real Techniques. If you want a decent, good brush that is not too expensive, and I know in the UK they're like a lot of the time they are on sale, go and buy Real Techniques brushes. Also, a brand that I love is Zoeva. They also have a lot of brushes that are very, very good. I have a couple of them here. Yeah, so Zoeva does a lot of good brushes, as well does Spectrum, which is also a brand that is quite affordable but does really good brushes. And last but not least, Ecotools. So there you have four brands. I can't count today. 4 brands that you can go to and you know the brushes are not that expensive. You don't pay like 40 euros for a brush, but they're also like good quality for the brush that you get. Then I'll go over each step and I'll tell you what kind of brush you could use, and then the brush that I use, and then we'll go over in the end over the kit that I think would be essential if you start using brushes. Before I say, you can also use your fingers. If you like applying makeup with your fingers, go ahead, you don't need any brushes. So then you're done with this video. But if you don't, then keep watching. So we start off with foundation, and the 3 type of brushes that you could use for foundation is either a flat foundation brush, which is in my opinion quite old school, but some people like to use it, so you can use a flat foundation brush. You can use a beauty blender makeup sponge, well, the egg shaped sponge that are on the market, or you can use a flat topped dense brush. In my foundation video last week I showed you the difference between those two, so I'm not going to go into detail because I already explained in last week's video. But yeah, the beauty blender is a really nice tool because it's very versatile. You can apply almost all cream products with it. And I love this because it gives a very natural finish. So a foundation brush, I would recommend something like this, which is flat. You also have the smaller ones that are like a bit smaller. So you can compare in size, but it's just what you prefer. Then concealer, I usually use the same brush or the same beauty blender as I use my foundation for my foundation. So that's not something you need at all. And then we're gonna go on to powder. And I think you're gonna apply a couple powder products, which will be maybe a setting powder, maybe a contour and or a bronzer, then a blush and a highlighter. I think when you just start with your kid, you just need one brush, and it will be like a bigger brush, for example this, or for example this one. That's just a bit of a fluffy, semi-dense brush. You can do every step with this. You just have to clean it in between, because otherwise you get blusher where you want your bronzer and vice versa. But one brush is enough. If you want to extend your kit, then you can use, like, for example, this one for your powder. Fits all the way nice onto your face. Then, as I'm gonna explain in next week's video, you can use a contour brush and a bronzer brush. I like this for contour because it's a dual fiber brush, so it will distribute the product better onto your face, and it will make it less visible that you have contour on. I like this one for bronzer, but to be honest, I could use this one for bronzer too. It really doesn't matter. Or this one. I just like this one because it is slightly slanted and it fits perfectly on my cheeks. It's a perfect size. Then we also have a blush brush, which you will always recognize because it will always be slanted like this, because then it fits on the apples of your cheeks and you can just apply the product very nicely. And this is a typical blush brush, but like I said, if you want to apply contour or bronzer with it, go ahead, it's fine. You use it the way you want to use it, but it's made for blusher, which is also fine. I really like this to apply blusher with. So these were all the types of brushes that you could buy if you don't want to use one single brush. Then for highlighter, I think it's a little bit of a different story. What you could do is use an eyeshadow brush to apply highlighter, but you need to make sure that you blend it very, very, very good, because otherwise you get a stripe highlighter. But you could use an eyeshadow brush to do that, because then you only have to buy an eyeshadow brush that you can both use for highlighter and eyeshadow. If you want to buy a separate highlighter brush, I would recommend the fan brush over any other kind of semi-dense fluffy little brush. This one is from Spectrum. It was very affordable, and this one is a small fan brush. You also have like bigger fan brushes, but those are way too big for my head, so I use the smaller ones, and you can really precisely put the highlighter on your face. I'm gonna all show it next week, so you know what I'm talking about next week. But yeah, so recap: in between, something to put your foundation on. Either it could be your hands, a sponge, or a flat brush. Then a brush for all your powder and one brush for your highlighter. Those things are all you need. And then maybe something for eyeshadow, but you can also use your fingers for eyeshadow, which are very good for blending. But if you're just starting, this is all you need. And then if you want to expand your kit, like I said, a blush brush, a bronzer, a contour brush, and maybe an eyeshadow brush. I could make a whole separate video on the amount of eyeshadow brushes that you can have, but I would recommend, if you just want an all-rounder, then I would recommend the 227 Luxe Soft Definer from Zoeva. There's a similar one from MAC, I know, but that one is more expensive, I believe. But this one is just an all-rounder. You can do the crease color, lid colors, you can blend it. So yeah, and you can like pinch it to do stuff underneath your eye. So if you want to start with eyeshadow brushes, I would recommend this one. Then if your kit is expanding and expanding, Of course, you're gonna have more and more brushes if you want to at least. And then there are some brushes that you can use. For example, a flat brush to apply like glitter colors onto your lid. You can also use this for concealer, which is also fine. And then you have a more precise brush for into your crease, and then you'll have some blending brushes, but those are all extra. I think the only one you need in the beginning if you want to do eyeshadow with a brush is the 227 from Zoeva. That's a perfect all-rounder. So I talked about 12 minutes about makeup brushes, which is quite a lot. I have a very dry throat. So I'm gonna close up this video. I hope these videos are gonna make it way more easier for you to do your makeup, and you can find your way through the drugstore knowing what all the products are, what they do, what the differences are, the different brushes, because I know it can get quite overwhelming if you go into a drugstore and you see loads of products and you have no clue where to start. So I hope I can make it a little bit easier for you with these type of videos, because next week we're gonna talk all about contour and highlighter, as I said. So if you don't want to miss any of these videos, then subscribe to my channel and hit that bell notification so you know when a new video pops up. Leave a comment down below if you have any video requests regarding those mini series of makeup. I'd love to do more videos. I have, like I said, a couple of ideas in my head that I want to do, but please add on that and I can make more of these explanatory videos. And don't forget to hit it with a thumbs up if you liked it. And then, like I said, next week, contour and highlighter, a quick and natural routine. With that said, I will see you all next week. Bye!